Travis Holmes with the Duval Dive, Fans First Sports Network, and BigCatCountry.com here with your Jacksonville Jaguars update. Your Jaguars on Friday interviewed Minnesota Vikings assistant quarterbacks coach Grant Udinski. Many of you already know Udinski was an assistant on Matt Rule's 2020 Carolina Panthers staff before joining Kevin O'Connell up in Minnesota. That was back in the 2022 season when he joined as an assistant to the head coach for special projects. And in 2023, he was promoted to his current assistant quarterbacks coach role. Most folks around the league have already kind of just seen the work that he's done with both Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. So the Jaguars are kind of looking at him as a potential option for the offensive coordinator role, though rumors on the street kind of have it that they may be closing in on one of the previous two options. So we'll get into that in a second. But nevertheless, Udinski, the 28 years old, and he's interviewed with the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Houston Texans, and New England Patriots this cycle for their offensive coordinator open positions. Also, additionally, the Jaguars have already interviewed Los Angeles Rams passing game specialist Nate Shellhouse and Washington Commanders quarterbacks coach Tavita Pritchard. So we got three guys that's pretty young. I mean, Udinski's 28, Shieldhouse 34, Pritchard is 37. Shout out to Jaguars on SI's John Shipley for pointing that out. Like, there's a younger crop of guys, all of them related to the quarterback. So the Jaguars obviously have a look that they're going for, a build that they're looking for as far as their future offensive coordinator. And many of you may or may not know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers promoted their passing game coordinator, Josh Gizzard, to offensive coordinator. That impacts the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we already know. That the Bucs have kind of they blocked the official request for the Jaguars to interview Kevin Callberry, their offensive line coach, and Brian Picucci as their offensive O-line coach. So those two guys will more than likely end up remaining in Tampa Bay. Either in similar roles or maybe getting promotions, since that promotion they're going to keep everything in sync and keep everything as they had it in 2024. And also, but Picucci and Coen have a long history. They've known each other for 20 plus years, and they both worked together at Kentucky. Callberry was the offensive line coach for the Los Angeles Rams when Coen was the offensive coordinator. I believe that was back in 2022. And both were brought to Tampa following Coen to the Bucs, and they both were obviously blocked by Jacksonville for trying to, view them for similar roles. So, as much as I don't like that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did that, it makes sense, man. That's business. They were trying to keep the team together. I get it. I just don't love it for my Jacksonville Jaguars, nevertheless. Additionally, we have the additional news from Jordan Schultz that the Jaguars kind of countered basically the same day they requested interviews with the 49ers assistant offensive line coach Cameron Clemens for their position. In addition, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler also indicated that the Jaguars requested permission to view assistant offensive line coach for the Buffalo Bills, Austin Guild, for again the same position. So the Jaguars seem to have a plan in mind as far as countering the fact that they may or may not be able to get Callberry or any of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line coach. So that seems to be the way that the Jags are kind of moving. But these moves also indicate that the Jacksonville Jaguars will not be moving forward with Phil Rauscher at that similar position of offensive line coach. At least that's what these moves would sort of indicate. Clemens, he was with the Las Vegas Raiders. He was their assistant coach for 3 years before joining the 49ers back in this past 2024 season. The Josh Jacobs was with the Raiders and he led the league in rushing back in 2023. That seems to be they want someone who's going to be able to truly coach these guys up and build a dominant run blocking offensive line. I am here for it. Austin Gund, the Bills were first in sacks allowed and ninth in rushing yards in 2024. They only allowed 14 sacks, this past season. And Coen worked with the Bills' offensive line coach Aaron Kromer for 3 years. So potentially pulling someone from that staff kind of makes sense. We've seen that kind of trend of Coen identifying many of those interviews for these position coaches and offensive coordinator roles from staff of his former coworkers, whether that's the Los Angeles Rams in his own experience, Minnesota Vikings, Brian Flores, Miami Dolphins, those days. And, again, Flores, and here the Bills. So whether it's Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, Cromer, etc. that seems to be the route he's going to go with, guys that he feels more comfortable with. I know a lot of fans have already have those apprehensions about maybe the team doing a little much as far as needing some more experience. We'll get into that again. We mentioned that on this week's Duval dive. You have the Kyle Shanahan example. You even have the current McVay example. Where they don't necessarily have that older head on the roster, and it seems to work out fine. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm with you all with having some of those apprehensions, but nevertheless, hey man, it comes down to winning. Just win. We've gone with the old heads that have the championships and they don't seem to work out. But let's go with the younger heads and see if they'll be able to push the envelope and kind of come together with these new ideas. So that's kind of where I am on the subject. In any case, again, stay tuned. Stay logged in. Stay locked in to BigCatCountry.com. We'll have you covered for all your Jacksonville Jaguars coaching search, general manager search, any press conferences, any updates as far as general manager searches, coordinator searches, or roster construction that's going to be happening coming soon. Stay tuned. We have you covered. Duval. Whatever. It ain't how you start. It's about how you finish. Let's go.
Duval. Duval. Here we go.